So the name's Maya. I'm 27 years old, female, and the eldest in my family. We're your typical middle-class crew, not flashy or anything, but we always manage to get by just fine. My folks, Ariana and Liam, have been running a cozy little bakery for over 2 decades now. It's kind of a local landmark in our small town. We weren't swimming in money or anything growing up, but we never went without. My parents worked their butts off, and they made sure to teach me and my younger brother, Jake, the golden boy, how to do the same. He's 25 now. Just to paint a clearer picture, it was always pretty obvious that Jacob was the favorite. My parents treated him like he could do no wrong. No matter what happened, they were quick to jump to his defense. If he slacked off at school, they gave him a pass. Did the bare minimum? They'd still act like he hung the moon. Honestly, it didn't bother me much. I've never been the type to chase attention. I like doing my own thing, staying out of the drama and focusing on whatever goals I had going on at the time. If Jacob wanted to play the star, that was fine by me. I didn't care, well, not until recently. That's when things really started to shift. About 5 years back, my granddad passed away. That hit hard. We were really close. When they read his will, I found out he'd left me a trust fund. Now, it wasn't some life-changing mega fortune or anything, but it was a solid amount, enough that, handled right, it could actually open some doors for me. But there were conditions. I couldn't touch it until I hit 30, and even then, it could only be used for specific things, like buying a home or going back to school. At first, I didn't give it much thought. I'm not someone who goes spending money just because it's there. I figured I'd let it sit until the time was right. My plan was to use it for something practical, maybe get a small place in the city or finally launch the business I'd been dreaming about for years. Fast forward to earlier this year, Jacob popped the question to his girlfriend, Bella. She's 26 and comes from a pretty wealthy background. I don't want to come off as rude, but Bella's one of those people who just has that polished charm. She walks into a room and everyone instantly likes her. I actually liked her too, at first. But then things started getting a little strange. There was this one family dinner a couple of months ago. We were all just sitting around, chatting, and out of nowhere, Bella brought up my trust fund. She said it in this cheerful, casual way that totally caught me off guard. She asked what I planned to do with all that money once I could actually access it. I muttered something vague, maybe buy a place or start a business. I mean, seriously, isn't that kind of a personal topic? What was I supposed to say? Bella just gave me this bright smile and said, "Wow, that's so lucky." Then she added, "You know, Jacob and I could really use a little help with the wedding, or even a down payment on a house." Jacob laughed a little, kind of awkward, like even he didn't know if she was joking. I laughed too, assuming it was just a playful comment, until she kept looking at me, waiting for a response. The whole thing got super awkward. My parents jumped in and said something like, "Well, that money belongs to Maya, so that's not really up for discussion." That shut things down for the night. But after that dinner, something didn't sit right. It felt like Bella had dropped a seed in the middle of the table and I had no clue how far it was going to grow. Over the next few weeks, every family get-together seemed to come with a new comment from her. She never came right out and asked again, but her remarks started feeling a lot more targeted. She'd say things like, "It's just so incredible that you've got that kind of opportunity, Maya. Not many people get a chance like that to really support their family." At first, I brushed it off. I'd steer the conversation elsewhere or laugh it away. But she wouldn't let it go. And it wasn't just Bella anymore. Jacob didn't say much at first, but eventually he started chiming in too. His comments were quieter, more offhand, but I could tell where he stood. He'd say stuff like, "I mean, it's not like you're using the money right now." And then it clicked, he was backing her up. I went to my parents, hoping they'd put a stop to it. I figured they'd back me up and set some clear boundaries, but their response totally threw me. Instead of telling them to knock it off, my mom said something like, "Bella just wants to feel like she's really part of the family." She added, "She's not being pushy." That's the thing, I hadn't even called her pushy, but yeah, that's exactly how it felt. I started to feel like I was backed into a corner. I didn't want to stir the pot, but I also wasn't about to hand over money I couldn't even touch yet, especially when I had plans for it myself. Still, I figured if I just stayed calm and held firm, this whole thing would blow over. Then Bella decided to lay it all out. She pulled me aside during another family dinner and didn't even try to sugarcoat it. She said, "Maya, I really think you should reconsider how you're handling that money. Helping Jacob and me would mean so much, it'd really show that you support the family. Don't you think it's kind of selfish to hang on to it when you're not even using it?" I was stunned. I don't think anyone's ever straight up called me selfish before, definitely not to my face. I told her, as calmly as I could, that the money wasn't available yet, and even when it was, I had plans for it. She just looked at me like I'd slapped her or something and said, "I guess I misunderstood what kind of person you are." Jacob called me the next day. He apologized, but it didn't sound sincere. He said something about Bella being stressed over the wedding, that she didn't mean to come off so strong. But then he added, "Still, she's not exactly wrong. You could help and it wouldn't be the worst thing to think about." And that's when I really started to question myself. Was I being selfish? Was I overreacting? I honestly wasn't sure anymore. I started talking to a few close friends about everything that had been going on. They reassured me I wasn't crazy, that I had every right to feel the way I did, and that I wasn't in the wrong. Still, their support didn't make the weight of the situation any lighter. It wasn't just the snide comments or the weird tension at family get-togethers, it was the sinking feeling that my own family didn't have my back. The people I'd always believed would stand by me, my parents, suddenly seemed more focused on keeping the peace than standing up for what was right. That realization hit hard. Bella wasn't letting this go. And Jake? He was clearly riding shotgun on whatever idea she pushed. My parents, meanwhile, just kept trying to smooth things over without actually addressing the root of the problem. I had no clue how far they were willing to take this, but one thing became crystal clear. I wasn't about to roll over. Still, a part of me kept wondering, am I blowing this out of proportion? I'd love to hear what you all think. Top Date 1. Hola, amigos. I didn't think I'd be back with an update so soon, but things have gone from bad to worse. Like, seriously worse. I feel like I'm stuck in some absurd family drama that I never signed up for. Anyway, here's what's been going on since my last post. After that tense exchange with Bella where she flat out called me selfish, I noticed something shift. It wasn't super obvious at first, but there was definitely a change. At family gatherings, Bella started giving me these tight, fake smiles. Jacob barely made eye contact. My parents were still doing their best, we just want everyone to get along routine, but even they seemed different. Colder. Then Bella got bolder. She made a habit of cornering me when no one else was around, always about the same thing, the trust fund. One evening, while everyone else was watching TV, she pulled me aside and said, Maya, I've been thinking, what if you just gave us a portion of your trust fund as a wedding gift? Not the whole thing, just enough to help with the down payment on a house. Like that trust fund was haunting her dreams or something. I blinked. A wedding gift? Who even asks for that? I politely reminded her once again that I couldn't touch the trust fund yet, and even when I could, I had my own plans for it. She looked at me like I'd just drowned a kitten. You know, she said, I thought you cared about your family. Jacob and I are starting our life together, and this could make such a big difference. It's not like you even need the money right now. I couldn't believe the entitlement. I walked away before I said something I'd regret, but man, that conversation drained me. Unfortunately, it didn't stop there. Over the next few weeks, Bella started getting creative. She began framing it like my helping them would somehow unite the family. At one point, she even had the nerve to suggest it would be an investment in the family's future. I actually laughed out loud when she said that. An investment? Was I supposed to write them a check and expect interest? What made it worse was how Jacob slowly started echoing her sentiments. He wasn't directly asking for the money yet, but he'd make little comments like, Maya, you're in such a good spot right now. You could really make a difference. Like he was testing the water, seeing how much he could get away with before I snapped. So I did what I always do when I feel stuck. I went to my parents. I told them what Bella had been saying, hoping they'd finally step in and draw the line. Instead, my mom sighed and said, Bella just wants to feel like she belongs. And you know Jacob has always had it a little tougher than you financially. Excuse me? Tougher than me? We grew up under the same roof with the same parents and went to the same public schools. The only difference is I worked hard to save, made plans, and didn't blow money like it grew on trees. Jacob didn't. Then my dad chimed in with, I'm not saying you should do it, Maya. Just think about it. Sometimes keeping the peace is more important than being right. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Keep the peace? Was that really their top priority here? At that point it became obvious, this wasn't just Bella pushing anymore. My own parents were enabling her, whether they saw it that way or not. Then came the final straw. A couple weeks later, Jacob and Bella invited me out for lunch. I assumed it was just a casual sibling catch-up. But the second I sat down I could feel it. This wasn't a social visit. It was a setup. We chatted about wedding stuff for a few minutes, and then Bella leaned in and said, Maya, we've been thinking. What if you gave us half of the trust fund? That way you'd still have plenty left for your own plans, and we could finally start our life together without all this stress. Half. She actually said half. I kept my cool and told her once again that the trust fund wasn't even accessible yet, and even if it were, I wasn't giving any of it away. Period. That's when her tone changed. She started accusing me of hoarding money that could be used to support the family, and said it wasn't fair for me to keep it all to myself. Jacob backed her up saying, I get where you're coming from, Maya, but Bella's not wrong. This could really change things for us. You're in such a good position to help. Felt like I was being ambushed. I left that lunch completely drained. Then a few days later my parents called and asked me to come over. They wanted to have a family meeting. I showed up to find Jacob and Bella already sitting there, looking way too smug for my liking. My parents started in with how they just wanted to resolve the tension and keep the family together. Then my dad said it. Maya, maybe it's time to consider giving them a portion of the trust. Not half, just something. Something to show your support. That was it. I told them no. Firmly, clearly no. And I walked out. Since then, things have only spiraled. Bella's been reaching out to our extended family, spinning the story her way. Now I'm getting messages and calls from aunts, uncles, even cousins I haven't spoken to in years, all telling me I'm being selfish and that I should do the right thing. I feel like I'm living in some kind of twisted reality. Is this really happening? How did my whole family get sucked into this mess? I honestly don't know what to do anymore. I've tried putting up boundaries, but it's like no one even sees them. At this point, I've started wondering if I need to get legal involved, and just thinking that makes my stomach turn. I mean, how did it come to this, me even considering legal action against my own family? But that's where I'm at. I just needed to get this all off my chest. If anyone out there's got advice, I'm open to it. It's been one of those days. Hey Reddit. Yeah, it's me again. Didn't expect to be back this soon, but things have gotten worse. A lot worse. At first I thought it was just Bella. But now I'm seeing it for what it really is. My whole family is unraveling over this trust fund mess. After that awful lunch with Jacob and Bella, the one where they had the nerve to ask for half the trust fund, I figured maybe, just maybe, they'd back off. I couldn't have made it any clearer that the money isn't even accessible yet. And even when it is, I've got my own plans for it. I was frustrated, sure, but I figured if I just stayed firm, the whole thing would blow over. Then my parents called. My dad asked if I could come over for a little chat. He used that overly calm, sweet tone that always used to mean something was up. I asked straight up if this was about Jacob and Bella. My mom goes, not exactly, but it's important. Against my better judgment, I went. Walked into their house and boom. There they were. Jacob and Bella sitting on the couch like they were at a board meeting. Straight posture, polite smiles, fake as a $3 bill. My mom motioned for me to sit down. That's when I knew it wasn't just a casual talk. It was an ambush. They started out with small talk. My dad asked how work was, how I was feeling, all that fluff. But it didn't take long for the real agenda to show itself. My mom led with, Maya, we've all been feeling a lot of tension lately, and we just want to find a way to resolve it. I looked at Jacob and Bella. Bella gave me that same tight, fake smile I'd come to dread. Then my dad goes, we think it'd be good if we could reach some kind of compromise. Compromise? I asked. And what exactly does that mean? Jacob leaned in like he was about to pitch a business deal. Maya, we know you've got your own plans for the trust fund, and we respect that, but Bella and we're in a tough spot. Planning the wedding, trying to figure out our future. Honestly, even a little help from you would go a long way. Before I could say a word, Bella cut in. Exactly. It doesn't have to be half. Just something to show that you support us. It's not just about money. It's about family. Family. They kept using that word like it was a guilt trip, not something sacred. I took a breath, trying not to lose it. I've said this 100 times. I'll say it again. The trust fund isn't even accessible yet. And even when it is, I've got my own plans. I'm not handing it over. My dad shifted uncomfortably. We're not saying you need to give them half, he said. Just consider helping them out with a small portion. It could help ease some of the tension. I just stared at him. Really? So I'm supposed to fix this mess? With money I don't even have yet? Jacob let out this dramatic sigh, like I was being unreasonable. It's not just about the money, Maya. It's about showing you care. You're in a good position right now. This could really help us get started. Then I looked at Bella and she had that look, like she already won. This isn't fair, I said, trying to stay calm. I've worked hard to get where I am. I've planned ahead. Why should I have to give that up just because you decided to get married? Bella's smile disappeared. Her tone went cold. It's not about fairness, Maya. It's about family. Jacob and I are building something and you could be a part of that. Helping us out wouldn't even hurt you. And of course, my mom jumped in with the guilt. I think what Bella's trying to say is, this could bring us closer together. Sometimes it's better to let go of things than to cling to them so tightly. Let go? Cling? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I'm not clinging to anything, I snapped, finally losing my grip. I'm following the terms of the trust fund. I have plans. Dreams. Why is that so hard for anyone here to respect? Silence. Then Bella, in that chilly voice of hers, says, you know, Maya, I think the real issue here is you're not willing to put the family first. Jacob and I have always supported you, and now that we need you, you're pushing us away. It's really disappointing. I stood up. I was done. I'm not pushing anyone away, I said. I'm just not giving you what you want. That doesn't make me selfish. And it sure doesn't make me a bad sister. It's my money. My choice. I'm done. My dad tried to stop me as I walked toward the door. Maya, wait. Don't leave like this. We just want a solution that works for everyone. I turned and looked at him. No, I said. You want a solution that works for Jacob and Bella. That's what this meeting was really about. If you can't see how unfair this all is, then I don't know what else to say. And I walked out. Since then, things have gone quiet. I've barely spoken to my parents. Jacob and Bella? Radio silence. And honestly, that's a relief. But what hurts the most is the loneliness. I always thought my family would have my back, no matter what. Turns out they were ready to turn on me the moment I said no. Over money. Now I don't know what to do. Part of me wants to cut ties completely. Just walk away and never look back. But there's another part of me still hoping things might go back to the way they used to be. For now, I'm just focusing on myself. Trying to block out the noise and stay grounded. But man, it's hard when the people who are supposed to love you most are the ones causing all the pain. Thanks for listening, Reddit. Don't know what I'd do without this space. Top Date 3. Hey Reddit, I'm back with an update, and honestly, things have gone from bad to worse. After weeks of being cornered, guilt-tripped, and treated like the villain of the family, I finally hit my limit. This isn't what I wanted. But I've come to realize that just waiting around and hoping it all blows over isn't going to work. After that last so-called family meeting, I took a few days to process everything. The non-stop calls, texts, and sideways glances from family, it all felt like too much. Every day it was someone new chiming in, telling me I was being selfish or needed to remember what's really important. Nobody seemed to care that the trust fund isn't even accessible yet, or that it has rules and restrictions. All they saw was a pile of money and they wanted me to hand it over. The breaking point? A call from my cousin Laura. She's one of the few family members who's had my back through this. She told me that Bella had been talking trash about me at family get-togethers, saying stuff like, Maya doesn't care about family, and it's sad she values money more than her brother. That made my blood boil. I already knew Bella could be manipulative, but going behind my back and trying to turn the whole family against me? That was a new low. Laura also told me Bella had been asking around, digging for details about my finances, trying to figure out how much money I really had and if there was any way she could get to it. That was it. I decided it was time to talk to a lawyer. I booked a meeting with an estate attorney, laid everything out. She was stunned, said Bella's behavior, pressuring me, spreading rumors, snooping into my finances, could legally be seen as harassment. She reassured me that the trust fund is airtight. No one but me would have access to it once it's available. That was a weight off my chest, but it didn't fix everything. My lawyer told me to start documenting everything, texts, emails, voicemails, conversations, anything that could show a pattern. If things didn't cool off soon, she recommended sending a cease and desist letter. So that's what I did. I spent the next couple of days combing through my phone, saving every passive-aggressive message, guilt trip, and backhanded comment. It felt awful, like I was building a case against my own family, but I didn't know what else to do. And Bella? She didn't back down. She just switched tactics. Started posting vague stuff on social media about selfish relatives and family drama. No names, but it was obvious who she meant. Some of the comments people left were brutal. Then I started getting random messages from folks I hadn't spoken to in years, asking, "Hey, what's going on with your family?" Then it got worse. One of my coworkers pulled me aside and said someone had called HR pretending to be a family member, asking questions about my salary and finances. I was horrified. I didn't have proof it was Bella, but the timing and context? Too perfect to be a coincidence. I called my lawyer again, gave her the full rundown, the social media posts, the gossip, the fake phone calls. She said it was time. We drafted a cease and desist letter. Firm, professional, and to the point. It listed all the harassment and made it clear that if it didn't stop, legal action would follow. Sending it made me feel sick. I didn't want to drag this out or escalate things, but Bella left me no choice. A few days later, Jacob called me livid. "What the hell, Maya? You sent a legal letter to my fiancé? Do you know how embarrassing this is?" I tried to keep calm. "Jake, I didn't have a choice. Bella's been harassing me for weeks. She's crossed every line." He didn't see it that way. Said I was overreacting. "She's just trying to make you see her side. This is about family, not money." I asked him, "If it's about family, why is she spreading lies and trying to dig into my private life?" He didn't have an answer, just said he needed time to cool off. Things have been quieter since then, but the tension? Still heavy. Bella stopped posting, hasn't reached out, but now my parents are mad at me. My mom called and said, "You didn't have to make this a legal thing, Maya. You could have just talked to us." I reminded her I did talk to them. Repeatedly. Nothing changed. Now I'm focused on protecting myself. Everything's documented. My lawyer is on standby. This isn't how I wanted it to go. But at least I've taken back a little control. I just wish my family could understand how much this whole thing is hurting me. Thanks for reading, Reddit. I'll update again if anything else goes down. Top date 4. Hola amigos. Back again with another update just like I promised. Funny thing about life. Sometimes you don't have to do anything. People expose themselves. So here's what happened. That cease and desist letter? It worked at least for a bit. Bella went radio silent. The passive-aggressive social media posts? Gone. For a few days it felt like things might finally be calming down. Of course it wasn't that simple. My parents and Jacob made sure to keep the tension alive. It started with another call from my mom. Her voice was sharp, annoyed. Maya, do you even realize how much damage that letter caused? Bella's humiliated. Now everyone thinks this family is falling apart. I sighed. Mom, Bella's been harassing me. She tried to turn everyone against me, snooped into my finances, and wouldn't take no for an answer. What was I supposed to do? Her response. You could have handled it better. Sending legal letters to family? That's not how we solve problems. That's what my mom told me. Her voice sharp like I just embarrassed the whole family on live TV. I hung up, realizing for probably the 100th time that my parents were never going to be on my side, no matter how twisted Bella's behavior got. They were too busy blaming me for making it worse. But then everything blew up, and not in a way anyone saw coming. It started when Jacob sent a group text by mistake, meant for Bella. But he accidentally sent it to a family group chat that had me, our parents, and a few cousins in it. And what he sent, it exposed everything. His first message to Bella said, I found the messages you sent to your friends about Maya and the trust fund. Are you serious? You've been bragging about securing the bag this whole time. And right after that he dropped the receipts, screenshots of Bella's texts to her friends. One of them said, don't worry. Liam and Ariana will push Maya into giving me the money. She's too soft to hold out forever. Another read, Maya's so obsessed with her little business dreams that she doesn't even realize how selfish she's being. This money should have been split between the family from the start. Then Jacob followed up with a final message. I can't believe you've been manipulating everyone, including me, just to get your hands on money that isn't yours. This stops now. The family chat went dead silent for a minute, like the air had been sucked out of the room. And then, boom, everyone started reacting at once. Jacob must have realized what he did, because he sent a follow-up. Oh no. This wasn't supposed to go here. I'm so sorry. Too late, buddy. My mom chimed in first. Bella, what is this? Is this true? Then my dad added, Bella, you told us you were trying to work things out peacefully. Were you lying to us this whole time? Bella tried to save face, of course. Said the messages were taken out of context. Claimed she was venting about wedding stress. That we'd all misunderstood her. But this time, no one was buying it. Jacob didn't say anything else in the chat, but the damage was already done. Later that night, he called me. His voice was all shaky and quiet. Maya, I'm so sorry, he said. I was going to confront Bella privately. I didn't mean for you to see all that like this. I didn't hold back. Why didn't you say something sooner, Jake? You've been defending her for months while she's been tearing me down behind my back. I didn't know it was this bad, he admitted. I found the messages by accident. I was trying to figure out how to deal with it without blowing up the whole family. Clearly I failed. His voice cracked. I let her manipulate me. I thought she just wanted what was best for us, but I see now how far she took it. I'm sorry, Maya. I sighed. Part of me felt sorry for him. The other part? Just tired. Jake, I've been trying to tell you this for months. Bella didn't care about the family, she cared about getting what she wanted. I appreciate the apology, but fixing this isn't gonna be as easy as saying sorry. He understood. And then he kinda disappeared for a while. No more messages. No more phone calls. Laura, my cousin who's been in my corner from the start, later told me the group chat stayed busy for hours after I left it. A lot of the same relatives who've been giving me grief, they suddenly changed their tune. Bella's true colors were finally out in the open. But Bella didn't go down easy. She started calling family members one by one, spinning new stories, trying to paint herself as misunderstood. Said the messages were jokes or I was exaggerating or that she was just overwhelmed by wedding stress. Thing is, nobody was really buying it anymore. The screenshots said it all and her excuses didn't hold up. Jacob stayed silent for a while, but when he finally reached out again, he sounded different. Like someone who had finally accepted what was staring him in the face. I ended things with Bella, he said. I couldn't stay with someone who would treat my family like that. I can't believe I let it get this far. His voice was thick with regret. But that didn't undo all the hurt. Jake, I told him, I'm glad you're seeing things clearly now. But you need to figure out why you let her manipulate you, and why you defended her when the truth was right in front of you. And that was that for the moment anyway. I thanked everyone on Reddit for the support. Honestly, I didn't think Jacob would go back to Bella, but who knows? My life's been enough of a mess already. Then came the final update. Final update. Hola, amigos. Time to wrap this all up. I never thought things would spiral like they did, but I'm finally at a point where I can breathe again. Things are calmer now. Not perfect, but calmer. Bella didn't disappear quietly. Laura told me she overheard Bella at a family gathering, still blaming me. Said if Maya had just done the right thing, none of this would have happened. Well, Bella's right thing was me giving up something that wasn't even hers to begin with. From what I've heard, her wedding plans unraveled fast. The fancy venue? Cancelled. The dream dress? Returned. Turns out she'd been counting on me to bankroll her perfect day, and when that fell through, so did everything else. Eventually, she vanished from social media. Stopped showing up to family events. Just went quiet. It was a relief, honestly. But it didn't undo the damage she caused. My parents, finally shaken awake, started reaching out to me more often. My dad admitted they hadn't handled things right. And my mom, who had defended Bella through all of it, finally said something I thought I'd never hear. "I'm sorry, Maya," she told me. "I should have believed you sooner. It wasn't perfect. It didn't magically fix everything. But it was a start. And right now? That's enough. Lately, I've been focused on taking my life back. I cut ties with Bella completely, no more calls, no more messages, nothing. I also laid down some clear boundaries with Jacob and my parents. If we're going to move forward, it's going to be on my terms. Jake, now that he's no longer with Bella, gave me a real apology. Not just words, he's actually started therapy, trying to understand how he let things get so far. I give him credit for that. My parents also finally came around and admitted they let things spiral out of control. It took a while, but they're starting to see the bigger picture. Trust isn't going to magically snap back into place overnight, but we're heading in the right direction. All of this, the stress, the drama, the manipulation, taught me some hard lessons. I've learned how crucial it is to set boundaries, to speak up for myself, and to put my own peace first. For the first time in a long while, I feel calm. Settled. Like I'm finally living for me again. My relationships are starting to mend. My life's finally moving forward. And as far as the past, I'm leaving it where it belongs, behind me. Thanks for sticking with me through this wild, messy ride, Reddit. Your support meant more than you probably realize. I've still got my own path ahead, but for now, I'm free to walk it with my head held high.